Hello, it's me, the Avatar Fanatic, and today we will be reviewing episode 4 of the Netflix Avatar live action, Into the Dark. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, comment your thoughts down below, and hit the notification bell to know when I upload more content. The writing and the dialogue is again generic at times, but it is better here. I won't let the generic writing at times cloud my judgment too much, although it will affect my final rating. The episode starts off with Aang and Iroh meeting each other, and they start to understand each other more. This is a pretty cool conversation. Iroh in this live action seems like he cares more about his status, at least at this point, while in the original he was his own person after his journeys to find himself. This is fine, but you have to have more justification to spit wisdom to Zuko a lot of the time, other than "I'm old," although in most cases it can suffice. It is also good that Iroh is still flawed in this live action, which post Ba Sing Se invasion, it doesn't really show that in the original. This is a good change. Everyone has their own struggles. Apart from the Tales of Ba Sing Se episode, which portrays Iroh in a darker light, he's pretty much spotless across the whole original. You can argue this expose into Iroh's life in the Tales of Ba Sing Se episode made him seem human, which is what developed that emotional attachment to that episode in the original. But again, a natural progression and then a potential breakdown in the future may even be a better option. I'm not saying necessarily it is, but it may be, rather than bottling it up. Revealing stuff in small increments and then maybe a breakdown could happen in the future over something like Lu Ten. The Mechanist, Teo, Sokka, and Katara devise a way to save Aang. Katara and Sokka have come up with a plan. There's a cool little flashback of Aang and Bumi when they were kids. Aang meets Bumi, and Bumi seems bitter about Aang leaving the world and letting the world devolve into despair. It's a valid criticism with a just justification from Bumi. Jet startles Katara. They fail to reconcile their differences largely, and Jet gets iced from Katara. The waterbending again isn't forceful enough. Maybe more force short range, maybe more speed long range. I like that Katara takes one of those water containers in preparation for the North episode, as it isn't really random how she got it. She took it from the Mechanist's little lair. Zuko disguises himself as an earthbending guard. He is faced with a dilemma to try and catch Aang or to save Iroh from certain death. Iroh in the original would have taken care of these people himself, even in handcuffs, but it's whatever. Bumi and Aang have this feast. It was more of this intimidation tactic from Bumi. I love that the secret tunnel music made its return appearance. They were singing really well done, including a little bit of comedy from Sokka. These are little scenes that you include if you want to make the series and the episodes overall good. Also, explaining the origin of Omashu played into the plotline of how to escape the cave labyrinth well. It's finally a decent piece of writing apart from most of the first episode. It also portrays information with quite a lot of exposition, but it was given as a lesson rather than just as a statement. The exposition, even though again, you maybe could have done it a different way, it was more effective. It gives useful information to Sokka and Katara to be able to achieve their goal of finding Aang. Also helps people who have never watched the original show to learn some historical Avatar lore about the first Earthbenders. Although there's a weird theory overlap with lion turtles, badger moles, and Oma and Shu, but that's a different topic. Zuko starts chasing after his uncle because he found an identifiable pie showpiece dropped by Iroh on the ground. Although I don't know how Zuko saw it because that was really far. I don't know why he knew where to look or how he saw it. It does make sense though when there were 3 paths that generally if you're going to give a clue of where you are, that makes sense. Aang is tested in a series of games versus Iroh, like what happened in the show. Although I kind of like this more, it wasn't all friendly. There were grievances, Aang was uncomfortable as he should have been. Not everyone will be welcoming to a 12-year-old who supposedly abandoned everyone. This is done better in this live action than in the original show, showing this isn't Aang's playground and backyard and his house. It was Bumi's house. It was Bumi's backyard and his guards. Power dynamic was very evident from the get-go when Aang was brought in. Sokka and Katara enter the cave, get into some generically written but seriously meaningful argument, maturing as they go along, reconciling their past grievances, realizing each other's struggles. This series of scenes were great to build a bond between brother and sister, one that had really not been developed across the show yet, And sure, it's only 4 episodes, but I mean, that's half of a full season, and there were only 3 books, so that's really like, like a sixth of the full content. So you should probably get more and more of that in there. Iroh and this Earth Guard talk about who they lost in the siege of Ba Sing Se. The Earth soldier's tempers flare as his grief overwhelms him. This gives Iroh the point of view of some of the other people's lives he might have ruined. The point to me was simple and effectively written. It's not just Iroh who lost Lu Ten, who lost someone. It was the Earthbenders and the Earth Nation citizens who had to ration water, lost thousands of their relatives. Iroh may have deserved sympathy, but did he deserve empathy? This was a question Iroh certainly had in his head, and he was really forced to ask himself this. Did he bring this upon himself? Writing something generally more ambiguous like this can make you see more layers to the root effect or the root cause, increasing emotional attachment across the series because it can establish an internal struggle to Iroh to really self-reflect. This was the best written scene of the episode in my opinion. Silence was everything in Iroh's answer. It said enough. It goes to a flashback of Lu Ten subsequently. This is why Iroh abandoned Ba Sing Se. His grief of his loss. Did he realize that's what was happening to others in the Earth Nation and to his own people? This scene gave layers. If Zuko never gave that pendant of Lu Ten's to Iroh, Iroh would have never started teaching Zuko. All these years would have been different. Zuko would have been sent out and gone from Iroh's life pretty much forever. This taught the lesson that grief can be transformed into kindness and hope again, and closeness with people. This scene again gave layers to the arc, and in my opinion it was written really well. At least so far this arc is written well. Sokka and Katara find Badger Mole, start running from it, recognize they're about to die, wanted to go out together, but they discovered that Badger Moles measure emotion. They don't see anything. This is a clever reference to how Toph mind reads lies in the original. They do something similar here that maybe happened, but I don't recall Badger Moles doing in the original. They feel emotions, which is very smart. The Badger Mole ends up feeling Sokka and Katara's love for each other, and it changes its demeanor completely, paving a way for them to get to Aang. Zuko finds Iroh and humiliates like 15 Earth Guards on his own. Iroh, with some mercy, gets stabbed with an Earth Shard in his back. Zuko saves Iroh, again with guidance, paralleled universes in 2 different scenarios. This episode taught to never abandon your loved ones, your friends, your family. This episode had some generic dialogue, but it was pretty well written with some good overarching lessons that was also present with Aang and Bumi, to never really abandon your friends. And that Aang really did never abandon his friends. He just had a bad circumstance. Aang got saved from his battle to the death with Iroh. Personally, there would have been some things I would have changed, like some of the writing with Aang and Bumi scenes, a little bit of the Sokka and Katara dialogue, but general sentiments were good. Maybe some of the CGI of the bending, specifically in the Bumi versus Aang scene. Bumi may be 100 or 112, but it should be easier for him to bend a big piece of earth than even an Earth Nation soldier bending that smaller rock versus Iroh. Bumi was just that good. Just make the impacts forceful. They made the impacts forceful with the earth bending, but Bumi's earth bending should have been coming to him easier. Same with the water bending on Jet. Just make it a little faster, and I would say for water bending, make it a little more forceful. Overall, I liked this episode. It was definitely better than the previous one. A couple moments of cringe again, but much less than the last one. Some notable ones here was Aang near the beginning of his meeting with Bumi, or another Sokka Katara convo in the cave, but it's much easier to ignore when the episode is generally good. I give this episode like a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. It felt less rushed than the previous 2 episodes. The Iroh self-reflection and the development of Zuko's reverence to his uncle arc really hasn't appeared much yet in other episodes of the series, which it should have more across the show, but it did here with Zuko choosing to save his uncle over Aang, showing these scenes which were well done. I liked it. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to know when I upload more content. Also, comment down below your thoughts on the episode, and it's been me, the Avatar Fanatic, out.